Sanders, I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
I am completely confused as to why it turned from Bernie Sanders saying I didn't say it to Elizabeth Warren being asked, what did you think when he said it? He says he didn't say it. So you turn to Elizabeth Warren and say, did he say it?
Bizarre.
That's the issue.
That was bizarre.
I mean, it's bizarre.
It was.
What the heck happened there? Are they listening? Because you got to listen when you do a debate.
Yeah.
And then take the question to the next candidate.
You just missed.
It was a miss. Yeah.
You were waiting to go.
But
Did
this
he
is
say
the
it?
story.
It was a miss.
By the way, I've had conversations, private conversations taken to the press and totally manipulated for the benefit of the person who was sharing the story. This happens all the time. It's clear there's a misunderstanding or Elizabeth Warren is focused on something that was said. And Bernie Sanders is not going to be someone who says, I don't think a woman could win. That's just stupid.
Right. It would not be smart.
You just wouldn't say that.
Also, Bernie went to her in 2015 and said, hey, I think you can win. I think you should run for president.
This is a terrible issue to bring up.
This is such small ball.
So usually I try to cut the intro clip down a bit just to give you guys a summary of what was said with all the necessary context, obviously, just to make it less than a minute. But no, I think everyone had to see that in its entirety. It was very cathartic. Good on Mika and the Morning Joe team. They occasionally have some good takes on Bernie Sanders and others, and they were slamming both CNN and Warren, rightly so. But I will reiterate her point in different words. Reporting hearsay is not reporting. CNN has no idea what happened in that room. The reason the moderator repeated the question like that, besides an obvious disdain for Bernie Sanders, which we know so well, is because they're standing by their reporting. But the reporting, admittedly, is all from Warren's perspective, from sources who spoke to Warren after the conversation happened, and then they leaked it to the press. That's not reporting. That's a TMZ, Perez Hilton gossip column, and that's choosing to believe one person over the other for no reason except the fact that, one, they hate Bernie Sanders, and two, some idiots in the media have co-opted the Me Too movement for this story. You know, believe women, as they say. That's about assault. My God, that's insulting. That's not about a petty fight between two friends. Or, you know, who knows, two former friends at this point, because Elizabeth Warren has been listening to the half of her advisors, the establishment side, and has thrown her friend under the bus. And even if that's her recollection of the situation, it's gross. So in case you missed it, last night, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders did not escalate or de-escalate their feud over this dumb bull crap. She didn't shake his hand after the debate. Now, to me, I'm assuming they didn't shake hands because they're in a fight and they have a long history, so they don't need to exchange pleasantries. And Bernie Sanders' campaign manager seems to confirm that notion to the Washington Post. Senator Elizabeth Warren came to raise a concern with Senator Bernie Sanders after Tuesday's Democratic presidential debate, according to Sanders' campaign manager, who briefly described a mysterious exchange that was captured on live television without sound. She came to raise a concern, and he said, let's talk about that later, says Sanders' campaign manager, Faz Shakir. Shakir declined to provide further details about the conversation, the video of which has been widely shared on social media. Talking about this any further only helps Biden, but it's Elizabeth Warren who's continuing this, and I've got to defend Bernie here. I mean, we've heard it from Morning Joe. This just doesn't pass the smell test, and I have no doubt that this is at least part of her recollection. Human nature works that way. Miscommunications, the game of telephone, fine. But one, she should have de-escalated for the good of the country, for the friendship, for the movement. And two, it's clear that she didn't de-escalate because she's no longer running any semblance of a progressive campaign. The establishment half of the folks she hired have taken over. She's gotten spooked by falling in the polls, and she went in the entirely wrong direction. She's acting desperate. her not going full bore and only hiring grassroots activists and organizers like Sanders has, although I know for a fact that she's hired many, has really backfired. Her campaign under that, faction in it, the former establishment staffers, they've gone full woke, full white feminists, appealing to, the Yas Queen voters. And it is depressing to see, because I might get heat for this, she's still a progressive legislator, a really progressive legislator. Behind Sanders, her record is as progressive as it gets in the Senate, independent, putting aside all of the military votes. I get that. But I'm saying, in terms of the totality of record, it's as progressive as it gets besides Bernie Sanders. But as a campaigner, as a leader in this 2020 race, the progressive aspect seems to be done in many ways. And it does pain me to say that.